What's going on, everyone? Juicebags here, and welcome back to some Dungeon Defenders 2. We've got an update and a new hero upcoming in the next few weeks. However, one of the big changes coming in this next update, scheduled currently for October 24th, is the Stat Squish. What exactly is the Stat Squish? Well, all of the numbers in the game are basically going to go from 10 to 1. So if you were hitting for 100 damage before, you're going to be hitting for 10 damage now. Now, this applies to enemies as well, so relatively speaking, you shouldn't really notice a difference in your effectiveness, as enemies that used to have, say, 100 health are now only going to have 10 health as well. So although you're going to be hitting a lot less, the enemies are going to have much less health as well, and they'll be hitting for less as well, and you in turn will have less health there also. So now, since we're a couple of weeks out, of course we don't have our hands on the update yet, but it is time for a little theory crafting. So we're taking a look at the Nuke Monk today. Now, what could I potentially change with the Nuke Monk? Now, the build I use uses crit chance on a weapon. Most of the suggested builds use an anti-mod like controller instead. Now, if you're in full endgame gear with all 10 out of 10 mods and all the proper rolls on everything and decent stats on everything, you can't use an anti-mod here. The reason being is your nuke will go over 2.1 billion damage and will hit for nothing. So that's the reason I currently do not use an anti-mod and I focus on crit chance instead. Now, with that in mind, we're having that Stat Squish. So with the Stat Squish in play, that means we're no longer going to have to worry about that. So effectively, right out of the gates, I probably won't make any changes or rush into any changes right away. However, I could see changing this crit chance chip over to some form of anti-mod, or depending on how other mods are performing, maybe even a different mod altogether. Now, with that in mind as well, you've got things like Pest Repellent. Now, with Pest Repellent, when it comes to doing like Chaos 9 maps, Pest Repellent is huge. It makes it so you can just ignore assassins, let them come and do their business, and you're just going to kind of ignore the damage, and then eventually the assassin will fall off of you. However, anyone who is playing the higher difficulty content, and I'm not even, Chaos 10, of course, doesn't have any assassins. However, say you're wanting to push up to wave 200 plus in survival mode, if you're hard playing on your Nuke Monk, you are very used to dying. So the Pest Repellent chip does not keep you alive in that situation. In most cases, the best strat, of course, is to swap over to a tankier hero that can tank out the assassins or be in a position where you can insta-stun the assassins off of you. However, it is going to be a question on whether or not you would want to keep Pest Repellent. 50% less damage from flying enemies, that 100% is for assassins only. Do you want to dedicate a mod slot to only assassins? Now, if, like in my situation, if I wanted to, I could swap this over, no pun intended, to a swap damage chip and get an additional 7,770 hero damage, or 777 hero damage, I'm assuming, after the Stat Squish, and pump up my numbers a little bit more even. So we've got some survivability here that's not really helping us out in the current end game. Is this something we need to have? Now, I guess you could bring the same conversation into snakeskin armor there as well. However, snakeskin armor applies to all mobs. It gives you a 50% more health and raw 15% less damage taken. I personally probably will not give up snakeskin armor. However, I do think that is an option as well. Like, if you play your monk just for nuking, and you always swap to, say, a barbarian or another hero when tougher enemies come, and you're not worried about the nuke, then You may not need snakeskin either, which in turn would give you another 7,770 or 777 after the squish in hero damage. So there will be ways to stack a little bit more damage out of the deal and get our numbers pumped up a little bit more. Now, of course, by taking away this hero crit chance, your chance to crit is going to go down and you're not going to be up there critting every single time again. However, when you do crit, and your crit chance will still be high, when you do crit, it is going to hit much harder. So kind of up to you on where you make any choices. Now, as I've been suggesting to everyone, I do not suggest anyone make any drastic changes right now, as there is going to be other things coming into the mix. We know that, like, boom servos, for example, are not getting a direct 10% number crunch. So boom servos could become a little bit more powerful. With that in mind, maybe things like Frostfire Remnants or a boom chip on a weapon could end up being better as well. So, as I mentioned, raw out of the gates, you're not really going to notice a difference. Obviously, you'll notice a big difference in the number, but in your effectiveness level and what you're able to contribute, you should not notice a difference in your effectiveness. So with that in mind, just don't make the changes since we just don't know what is necessarily going to be good. Let me know down in the comments below what you plan to do to change up your builds after the stat squish. I don't think I'm going to be changing very much, to be honest. There will be some changes, but I don't think I'm going to be making a whole lot of changes across the board. Now, in addition to the stat squish, of course, this video is mainly focused on that. We do know we have the Hunter hero coming. So I've said this before. I'll say it again. If you do want to prepare for the upcoming update, one of the best things you could do is, number one, as always with all updates coming to the game, farm up as many defender medals as you can. Of course, if you have your defender medals capped out, you're going to be able to instantly buy that hero right out of the gates. So farm up your defender medals, no doubt. As you see, I need to get to work on that one. And then additionally, it might be a good time to farm up a bow, as we do know that the Vampire Hunter is going to be a bow user, so having a couple of decent bows laying around is certainly not going to be a terrible idea. But that will do it for this episode. Thank you all so much for watching. I'm looking forward to this update coming. There is also another round of Twitch drops coming with it, so I will be live streaming just about every day over on Twitch, so everyone can earn those Twitch drops. But right now, all we have is the anticipation. So let's theory craft it out. Let me know what you're going to change down below, and I will see you next time around. Take it easy.